In this video, we're going to go through the process of dialing in some clean and mid-gain type tones that I would commonly use on the new Bias Mini, as well as using the Bias Amp 2 software on the computer to tweak and fine-tune those sounds. So let's start by dialing up a pristine clean tone. There's two different ways you could go about this. You could either choose one of the presets to start from. So if you know that you're after a certain sound or style, or for example, maybe you're after a small Fender combo type tone, you could go in there and take a preset and work on that. Or you could start off with something a little bit more generic and then really get exactly what you want out of it. For an ultra clean tone, I can't think of a better place to start than the classic Roland JC platform. So this is what it sounds like straight out of the box. Very clean. First thing I'm going to do is put a bit of reverb on because it's beautiful reverb and I always prefer to have just a little twinkle of it there. One thing I might do is change the tone stack. So at the moment it's on American Clean. Now I know one of my favorite clean kind of amps is a Matchless. So we're going to put that on and have a listen. Okay, next let's have a look at what's going on in the preamp section. The pre and post EQ are both bypassed, so let's put those back into the circuit because I'd like to take out a bit of bottom end and some mids. Let's also try the bright switch and see how that sounds. Now let's take a look at the power amp section. This will be set up for a nice big clean tone, so I don't want to mess with too much here. I think I'll crank the presence up a bit and you can see you've got a choice of either vintage or modern. Still keeps it very sweet. If I was to switch it over to modern, back over to the preamp, the other thing I will just have a quick look at is the different tube options here. So I still want to keep it nice and clean, so I'm not going to get into like 12AX7 and that kind of thing. But there's a few here that I've really enjoyed playing around with, and this is one of them, the 12AY7. Low gain preamp, lots of headroom. I think that's exactly kind of what I'd be looking for in a super clean tone. It's not brittle, it's not nasty, but it's got nice sparkle to it. Okay, what we're going to do now is take that beautiful, sweet, innocent little tone and turn it into some classic grit and grind. For the clean tone, we have the transformer really just giving us as much big, clean, open sound as possible. This time we want it to start doing a little bit of work. So what you can do is go into the presets and simply start there if you don't want to get into tweaking the individual parameters. In the preamp, not only do we have some fairly clean tubes happening, we actually only have at the moment one tube stage, which is going to give us the least amount of distortion. So let's bump that up to 2, which is a lot more likely to be found in a classic combo. And then I'm going to jump right in here, and why don't we just get into a bit of classic 12AX7 territory. And since we're getting a little dirty, let's crank the gain a bit. I'm going to pull the low end out a little bit before it hits the overdrive circuit. At the moment they're bypassed, so I'm going to kick the low back in and just pull out a little more. Yep. Go to the power amp, and same thing at the moment. These tubes are going to give us as much kind of headroom as possible. So I'm going to change these over to EL84, we'll try first. I'm going to crank the master up a little bit more, have a listen to that. Okay, so at the moment it's still, relatively clean, but you can hear it's starting to get a little bit hotter. Over to the preamp again. Now, what we can do is play around with these tubes a little bit more. Now there's one in here, which is the BH7. This is another loud one. It's starting to get pretty funky. So what's cool is you've got quite a variety of different ways that you can get more drive or more push. At the moment here in the preamp section, for example, the distortion, which is the overall distortion in the circuit, is sitting right in the middle. So if we wanted to, we could just give that a little bit of a shove. Now, the other thing you can do is get into the different preamp or power amp actual styles. So you have not only just the standard, which has the most number of possible options, but if you want to get straight into something that's going to give you a more sort of direct path to a type of sound, you can change it to one of these guys here. So I'm going to do that actually in the power amp stage. I'm going to kick it over to Glassy. As you can see there, it's a much more simplified range of options. And I like this one here. It has a headroom control, so you can either have maximum headroom or minimum. I kind of dig what that's doing. I want to go back over to the preamp and we'll try a different setting here as well. We'll do the Glassy mode first. Got the headroom control here as well. We don't want any. That's pretty cool. Now I want to get back to the main control panel here. I can now crank a bit more treble and presence into the sound. So that's a very organic kind of a sound that we're going for there in terms of where the drive's coming from. If we go back over to the power amp, we could actually crank that master up to get more of that thick drive. That sounds like I've got a Marshall stack cranked. Instead, I've got a 112 open back cab and I'm not having to run it at a volume that's going to destroy the neighborhood. Okay, just one more thing. Let me pull that master back a little. And I just want to try one other different type of preamp here. The Blues module is awesome. Definitely one of my favorite things about the new Bias Amp 2. And then I'm just going to juice that gain all the way.